Is it Royce or Hoyce?
It's Royce.
Royce in Bud Lake, New Jersey.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to talk about this thing that I saw in a YouTube video. It was some magician who's an atheist, and he said, "I'm a born-again atheist." And I was thinking, well, are you really born an atheist? And I was looking into the definition for it. And there's something called implicit and explicit atheism. Yeah. And I don't know, the only reason why I don't really agree with that people are born atheists is because I don't think that theism should exist. So that's just like to label someone that doesn't know what God is an atheist doesn't make sense to me, yeah?
Yeah, it's the difference between implicit and explicit atheists. Yes, babies are born atheists, and guess what? Rocks are atheists too, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who have considered the issue, are able to process the issue, and come to some conclusion, or unable to come to a conclusion that favors belief. So yeah, there's a difference between the two, and in general, when we talk about atheism, we're not talking about rocks or newborns.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have a 3-year-old son, and he is an atheist in the sense that he has no God belief. We don't think it's appropriate to tell him that things that don't exist actually are real, and in particular that there's some theology that says he's sinful or whatever. But aside from that, I mean, you know, he's really not able to consider that. So he's an atheist only in the sense that he has no God belief. He's never really been exposed to it. That's different than me saying that I'm an atheist, because I've actually considered the claims of different religions and rejected them all. So I think people get too wrapped up in how we define this stuff, and you've got some people that will vehemently object to calling, you know, babies or young children atheists because they haven't considered it. And, you know, I don't really have a problem with calling young children atheists in the sense that they don't have a God belief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, what I was saying, though, like, what I don't really accept about the definition, just that, like, theism itself, in this like, day and age, theology shouldn't even really exist, because we have the science to prove that that's all a myth.
Well,
and
theism is just belief in something. You don't need scientific proof. By the way, there's no such thing, but in the sense that you're talking about it, you don't need that to believe something. You can believe anything for any reason, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
So theism is going to exist, just like, you know, belief that there's a Loch Ness monster is going. I mean, somebody's going to believe that. That you're going to have a hard time coming up with anything that somebody is not going to believe. So yeah, it's going to exist, with or without. I mean, if there was evidence, if there was scientific proof in the sense that you're talking about it, we would probably start shifting away from just calling it belief and moving it more towards knowledge, where we are approaching a much higher degree of certainty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's because, like, just believing in God is more like deism to me than theism. Theism says what God wants and all that other stuff.
Yeah, the people who claim to talk to God or know what God wants, I don't know. I wish they could back up their claims with evidence. I mean, I can't prove them wrong. I can't prove that they don't have some kind of God module or antenna, whatever, where they're receiving transmissions and getting instructions. The only thing I can say is that whenever we do take a look at the instructions that these people are supposedly getting, some of them are dangerous, some of them are silly, and some of them are just wrong. You know, how many times has, you know, somebody said, "Oh, I know God wants me to do this because it's going to make my life better," and it turns out to make their life worse. And then when it's done, well, it was my fault. God had the right plan. I just screwed it up. I mean, you know, God's in this win-win scenario across the board.
Well, maybe if God could come through and tell parents which kids are going to get different diseases, so they could vaccinate just those kids, then, you know, maybe then they'd have a case here. But, you know, just a blanket religious ban here.
And I hit the button. I'm sorry, but thanks for calling.
Sorry, I had to like throw that back in my top.
If there was more, I meant to say thank you before I actually hung up, but my finger got heavy on the button.